Hello, today I'm looking at Majjhima number 125, and it's entitled the Dantabhumi Sutta, which is translated as the grade of the tamed. But having read it through, instead of using the word grade, I think I prefer the word stage. So I think it might be better called the stages of taming. And this is sort of a complete instruction to achieving enlightenment given by Buddha. So it's quite worth reading. Anyway, the location is Rajagaha in the bamboo grove in the squirrel's sanctuary. And the people mentioned are Achiravata, a novice. Now he's also known as Ajivasana, which I believe is his clan name. So just for clarity, I've just referred to him as Ajiravata throughout. And there's also Prince Jayasena, who's at the start of the sutta, as well as Buddha, again variously described as the Blessed One or the Tathagata. So the sutta starts with Prince Jayasena chancing upon Achiravata, a novice, whilst wandering out in the forest. So after greetings and courtesies, the prince asks Achiravata to teach him the Dhamma, but Achiravata was reluctant to do so, as he did not believe the prince would understand. But the prince insists, but they agree that if the prince does not understand, they will leave it at that. So no hard feelings. So Achiravata explains the Dhamma as he has heard and mastered it. But the prince's response is that a bhikkhu, or monk, who abides diligent, ardent and resolute cannot possibly achieve unification of the mind. And at this, the prince departs. So soon afterwards, excuse me, Achiravata goes to Buddha and reports the conversation to Buddha, to which Buddha replies that it is not possible for a person living, enjoying, devoured and consumed by sensual pleasures could know, see or realize that which must be known, seen, attained and realized through renunciation. So there then repeats the analogy as per Majjhima number 90, that two tameable elephants could be managed to be the same as two tamed elephants, so two untamed but tameable and two tamed elephants. But the untamed elephants would not naturally acquire the behavior of the tamed elephants. Just like Prince Jayasena, in the midst of sensual pleasure, cannot achieve that which must be known, seen and attained and realized through renunciation. So Buddha then relates another analogy. Two friends go to a high mountain, and one of them climbs it, proclaims to his friend at the bottom of the mountain that there is a beautiful view from the top of lovely parks, groves, meadows and lakes, to which his friend at the bottom of the mountain replies that this is impossible. So next they both climb the mountain, and once on top, the doubting friend can now too see the beautiful view of parks, groves, meadows and lakes, proclaiming that he did not originally see the beautiful view because there was a mountain in the way. He could not see what was there to be seen. Then Buddha further addresses Achiravata. So too, Prince Jayasena is obstructed, hindered, blocked by a still greater mass than this, the mass of ignorance, of sensual pleasures. So if these two analogies had occurred to you, Achiravata, the prince would have understood and acquired confidence in you. Acharabhata was puzzled. How could these analogies occur to me, as they are spontaneous and never been heard before? Buddha then goes on to elaborate exactly how a wild elephant is tamed. First, the wild elephant is captured and bound to a tamed elephant, led out of the forest, where it is the job of the elephant tamer to subdue the elephant's wild instincts. The wild elephant is tethered to a stake, addressed kindly by the trainer, fed with food and water, then given instruction to take up, put down, go forward, go back, get up, sit down, and finally he trains the elephant in the task called imperturbability, or calmness. The elephant is trained not to move whilst surrounded by men beating on loud drums, blowing trumpets, being assaulted with lances, spears, arrows, and swords. Once purged of all faults and flaws, the elephant is worthy of the king's service. Buddha continues, so too, Acharabhata, a Tathagata appears in the world. Accomplished, fully enlightened, he teaches the Dhamma well, attracts followers who renounce their household life and go forth into homelessness. And in one of them, the Tathagata addresses him thus: be virtuous, restrained with the restraint of the Patimokkha, which is the monk's code of conduct. Be perfect in conduct and resort. Train by undertaking the training precepts. Then the Tathagata teaches the novice further. Guard the doors of your sense faculties. On seeing a form with the eye, do not grasp at its signs and features, since if you were to leave the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade you. So practice the way of restraint. And this instruction then repeats for the other sense faculties, the ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. Practice restraint. The Tathagata then further teaches him thus: be moderate in eating. Do not take food for the sake of physical beauty and attractiveness, but only for endurance and continuance of the body, for ending discomfort, and for assisting the holy life. The next step the Tathagata teaches is be devoted to wakefulness. During the day, whilst walking back and forth and sitting, purify your mind of obstructive states. Do the same during the watches of the night. When lying down, lie on your right side in the lion's pose with one foot overlapping the other, mindful and fully aware, after noting in your mind the time to arise. After this is learnt, the Tathagata instructs as follows: at all times be possessed of mindfulness and full awareness, whether looking ahead or looking away, going forward, returning, flexing and extending your limbs, when wearing robes, when eating, drinking, urinating, defecating, walking, standing, falling asleep, waking up, talking, keeping silent. Then, after the noble disciple possesses mindfulness and full awareness, the Tathagata teaches him further, telling him to resort to a secluded place, a forest, root of a tree, ravine, cave, an open space. And after the arms round, sit cross-legged, body erect, and establish mindfulness. Abandon covetousness, and abide with a mind free from covetousness. Abandon ill will, and abide with a mind free from ill will, abiding with a mind compassionate for the welfare of all living beings, purified from ill will and hatred. Abandon sloth and torpor. Be percipient of light, mindful and fully aware. Abandon restlessness and remorse. Abide unagitated with a mind inwardly peaceful, the mind purified from restlessness and remorse. Abandon doubt. Abide having gone beyond doubt, unperplexed about wholesome states. Purify the mind from doubt. So I've got the emphasis there wrong thing. Unperplexed about wholesome states, purify the mind from doubt. Right. Having thus abandoned the 5 hindrances, the imperfections that weaken the mind from wisdom, the disciple abides contemplating the body as a body, ardent, fully aware and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief for the world. He abides contemplating feelings as feelings, mind as mind, mind objects as mind objects. And those are known as the 4 foundations of mindfulness. The body as a body, feelings as feelings, mind as mind, mind objects as mind objects. Buddha continues, just as Achiravata, the elephant tamer plants a large stake in the earth and binds the wild elephant to it in order to subdue its wild habits, so too these 4 foundations of mindfulness are the bindings for the mind of the noble disciple, in order to subdue his habits based on the household life, to subdue his memories of the household life based on the household life, and subdue his distress, fatigue and fever based on the household life, and in order that he may attain the true way and realize Nibbana. Then the Tathagata teaches the disciple further. Abide contemplating the body as a body, but do not think thoughts of sensual desire. Abide contemplating feelings as feelings, mind as mind, mind objects as mind objects, but do not think thoughts of sensual desire. With the stillness of applied and sustained thought, the disciple enters upon and abides in the 2nd jhana, the 3rd jhana, the 4th jhana. With his concentrated mind thus purified, he directs it to knowledge of the recollection of past lives, the many thousands of births, many eons of world contraction and expansion, how he was so named of such and such a clan, how he looked, what he ate, his life term, how he passed away and reappeared elsewhere. Then, with his concentrated mind, he directs his mind to the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings, inferior and superior, fair and foul, fortunate and unfortunate, how they pass on according to their actions. Then, with his concentrated mind, he directs it to the knowledge of the destruction of the taints, or the unwholesome traits. He understands as it actually is. This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. He understands as it actually is. So that's the 4 Noble Truths. These are the taints. This is the origin of taints. This is the cessation of the taints. This is the way leading to the cessation of taints. When he knows and sees thus, his mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, the taint of being, and from the taint of ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge. It is liberated. Birth is destroyed. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming into any state of being. That monk is able to endure cold and heat, hunger and thirst, contact with insects, the wind, the sun, and creeping things. He is able to endure the ill-spoken, unwelcome words, arisen bodily feeling that are painful, racking, sharp, piercing, disagreeable, distressing, and menacing to life. Being rid of all lust, hate, and delusion, purged of flaws, he is worthy of gifts, hospitality, offerings, reverential salutations, and an unsurpassed field of merit for the world. The sutta then finishes with Buddha returning to the analogy of wild and tamed elephants, that throughout its life, An elephant is referred to as untamed or tamed. So too a monk. If a monk continues his life until death with taints undestroyed, then he is always considered an untamed monk. Whereas a monk with taints destroyed is considered tamed and dies a tamed death. This is what the Blessed One said, and the novice Acharivata was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So that's the end of Majjhima number 125, the Dantabhumi Sutta. Thanks for watching.